But you know what? The greatest thing about doing ministry in the heart of the city here at Old Stone Church is that seeking the welfare of the city, working and caring for the welfare of the city, it's not a solo activity. It's not something we do in isolation. I know when we're out there walking on the street and somebody's panhandling, hitting you up for money, or there just seems to be problem after problem surfacing in our city. As an individual, it can weigh heavily. But when we come together as the people of God, we have strength like we've never had before. We have support and encouragement like we've never had before. When we're called into the body of Christ, we serve as one unified body, and there's incredible strength and empowerment for working and caring for this city. You know, when I was too tired, when I'd had it with this guy standing at the front desk, I got to go to Reverend June, and it was like tag team wrestling. Okay, I need a break. You take him on, you take him out. That's what we have in each other. You know, I was on the Glenn Mertz show this past Thursday, Christian radio, and he asked me this exact question. Doesn't it get you down? How do you keep your faith up in working for the care of this city? And I said, well, you know, Glenn, I live downtown, I work downtown, I cross through Public Square at least twice a day. And in doing so, I am almost always hit up by a panhandler. And there was a time I felt defeated. I'd had enough. I know I'm going to open a different can of worms here, but you do know that probably 60% of the panhandlers downtown Cleveland are scamming you. I'm sorry you're going to say, you're the pastor, you're supposed to be more compassionate. But the studies, they just prove it out, okay? There are people down there who are glad to supplement an alcohol addiction if you'll give them $1. They're glad to supplement a cocaine or a crack addiction if you'll give them 50 cents. There are people who are glad to supplement a governmental income if you're glad to give them money. And as a downtown resident and as a downtown pastor, I wish you'd stop giving them money that way. Because I think there's a better way to help. There's a far better way to help. It's when we come together as a people, we connect as an organization, we connect with other organizations that really are working toward proactive solutions for the welfare of this city. And so I said to Glenn Mertz, the way I don't get discouraged by it all is I remember all the good people of my congregation. You know, I think of you. I think of your faces. I think about you rolling up your sleeves and your willingness to get your hands dirty in the ministry of this city, in your care for those who are most vulnerable in this city, those who are hurting the most in this city. Whether it's volunteering at a meal program, whether it's volunteering on a Friday morning to help with the food services program, whether it's volunteering to go out and help at Bethany meals or at transitional housing, or whether it's volunteering at the interfaith hospitality, spending a night with those who are homeless, caring for them, whether it's being here simply to worship and praise and claim this heart of the city as sacred space for God. We're in it together. Caring for the welfare of the city is not a solo activity. How do we keep from getting discouraged? We remember each other. We remember that we're working together in this ministry. You know, but there's more to it than that. If I asked you to write down a list of all the mission things that the Old Stone Church does on a weekly basis or an annual basis, you would probably begin with all the things that our mission committee kind of oversees, whether that's transitional housing, interfaith hospitality, perhaps it's our celebrity chef night where we bring in some celebrity chef from the city, put on a cooking show for 80 or 90 people and raise money that goes to mission. You might list perhaps the Friday food services, you might list the school. You could go on and list all these mission things. But if I asked you to write down a list of all our mission opportunities, how many of you would put down worship? How many of you would put down prayer? How many of you would include on that list open doors so people can come in here and pray on a weekly basis? How many of you would put down on that list of mission projects and activities creating sacred space in the city? Do you know, in Jeremiah chapter 29, it not only says, work for the welfare of the city, it also says, pray to the Lord on its behalf. Work for the welfare of the city and pray to the Lord on its behalf. You know, in our very Protestant work ethic American culture, we believe in rolling up the sleeves and getting down to work, and that's a good thing. But the most important thing we as a body of believers have to offer to this city is prayer. The most important thing we have to offer is worship. The most important thing we have to offer is the body of Jesus Christ. You know, if you offer somebody some money on the street, why not invite them to come to worship on a Sunday morning? So not only will their body be fed, we've got fellowship time after, we always have food on Sundays, but their soul might be fed. Do you know what keeps a person poor? Is a brokenness of spirit, a poverty of spirit, a loneliness, a sense of isolation, a sense of being ostracized by the city and by the community. But when we invite people to participate in the proclamation of God's good news, invite them to participate in the family of faith, to experience the restoration and redemption that can be found in Jesus Christ and His Word, then we really got something going on. I know you all know that old saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for the day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Well, I say introduce him to Jesus Christ. Welcome him into the body of Jesus Christ. And not only will you teach him to fish, but you're going to improve the fishing conditions for him and everyone else in his life and the city around him. That's what we do. Pray to the Lord on behalf of the city. That shouldn't be at the bottom of our list. It should be at the top of the list. See, I think when it comes down to it, when we ask the question, what are we doing here today? My hope and my prayer is that the reason we are here is that we believe from the very heart of this city, we allow the light of God to shine out a light of hope to the city around us. Oh, sure, we're not going to quit doing our mission projects and just say we're going to just worship all the time. That's not what it's about. I mean, we have to back our prayers up with action, don't get me wrong. Be ashamed to pray for the hungry without offering them a sandwich. But at the same time, just offering a sandwich leaves us as another social agency. And what we are is the people of God. That's why we're here today, because we are God's people. God called not only to seek the welfare of the city, but to pray to the Lord on its behalf. So I say to you today, you glowing people who are letting the light of God reflect from your hearts and into this world, thanks for being here. Praise be to God. Amen.